What's up guys, Orain here. So the Google Pixel 4a is just over the horizon, and it's the follow-up to the very much acclaimed Google Pixel 3a that a lot of people love both critically and publicly. But it has some pretty big shoes to fill because Apple is now also targeting the same exact market with the release of its iPhone SE, its own budget line of phones. So what can Google do to kind of sway the consumer, you guys, to pull your wallets out and go for a 4a over an SE? There's a couple of things. They can focus on the display, the processor, and the camera. And we're going to go over that in this video, but we're also going to go over some of the rumors so you have an idea on how this phone is actually shaping up so there are no surprises when it's announced and released later in the next couple of months. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's talk about the release date of this phone itself right up front. It was rumored to be released this month, actually, May 22nd, but it looks like it was pushed back till June, where Google's going to be hosting an online event to kind of debut the phone while it debuts its new Android platform, Android 11. I think this is actually a pretty good idea. Debuting your newest device with your newest operating system always goes pretty well. You can kind of showcase what that operating system can do and also how that device is going to take full advantage of all the new cool features that that operating system has to offer. Also, pushing it back to June kind of makes sense because here in the United States we're all on lockdown, and most of the states are kind of forecasting that around June or around that time is when everybody's going to be getting back out into some kind of normalcy. And releasing a phone now is a little bit tricky because there are not a lot of stores open. People can't just walk in and purchase the phone. They would have to go looking for it online and place their order that way. But releasing it when the stores are kind of sort of opening back up and everybody's kind of getting back out there makes it a little bit more easier for Google, because then you could just walk into a store and pick up the Pixel the way you would normally purchase a phone. And it would also hold true to form because the Google Pixel 3a was introduced with the Android 10 platform, so why not introduce your newest phone with the newest platform as well? As for prices and models, you're looking at probably the same kind of pricing spectrum that you had with the Google Pixel 3a, where the regular A version is going to be $399 and the XL version is going to be about $479, even though there is currently a rumor saying that there's only going to be one variant of this phone out. Hasn't been fully confirmed yet, and later on in the video I'm going to show you why I don't believe it's going to be one variant. I think there's actually going to be two variants, but the rumor is saying that there isn't going to be an XL version of the phone. It's just going to be a Google Pixel 4a version of the phone for $399. I personally don't think that's a good idea. Google should definitely release two versions of this phone because there are people out there that prefer a smaller phone over a larger phone, but there are also people out there that prefer a larger phone over a smaller phone. I think they would service the market a little bit better. Releasing two variants, even if one variant doesn't sell as much as the next, you're still kind of covering your bases and servicing a full community. As for the price range, I think it's a really good price. I think these are now going to be the prices for that high-end budget phone. I guess that's the new term, but you know, you have the Apple SE that came out with its great processor starting at $399, so it only makes sense that Google's going to release the 4a at $399 as well, giving users the ability to purchase a really great phone at a pretty good, decent price point. Now, when you're coming to the way the phone is going to look, the overall design of the phone itself, I think it's going to look very similar to what you saw with the Google Pixel 3a, where they're not going to be using premium materials because again, this is a budget device. They want to keep costs down as low as possible, so you're going to see some plastic, but I do believe it's still going to feel almost like a premium device in your hand. The 3a, if you held it, it didn't feel kind of light. It didn't feel any way cheap. It did feel really good in your hands, and I think the 4a is going to serve to form and do the exact same thing. The noticeable differences between the 3a and the 4a design-wise is you are going to get that infinity type O display with that hole punch camera, and you're also going to get that squared off camera module in the back of the phone itself. So in that retrospect, it's going to look a lot like the Pixel 4, but with that not minimalistic type, not premium material on the phone itself. And my camp is, as long as it doesn't feel like a cheap phone, it's fine to use non-premium type material just to kind of keep the cost of the phone down. It makes sense if you want the phone to be a budget level phone. People kind of know what they're getting at a $399 price point. They're not getting the latest and greatest. They're getting a budget type phone, but as long as it doesn't feel cheap, I think it should be all right. I don't think there should be a problem with that. Now, when it comes to the actual display of the 4a, it's rumored to be in the range of a 5.7 to a 5.8 OLED display, full HD, of course. The one thing I do hope for the screen is that it's a little bit brighter. I've had a couple of, users in the community kind of explain that the Google Pixel 3a, one of the main problems they have with the screen is the brightness level. It didn't get as bright, didn't get as vibrant as some of the other screens they were used to. So hopefully they kind of counteract that issue with the Pixel 4a, especially since they're adding that 90 Hz refresh rate to the screen itself. You want to make sure your screen looks as crisp, clear, and as bright as possible. So hopefully they heard from the community that brightness was a factor with the 3a, and they addressed that in the 4a going forward. Now, camera-wise, arguably one of the most important pieces to a mobile device nowadays. Now, it looks like the Pixel 4a is going to do the same thing that the 3a did, and you're going to have one camera sensor, presumably a 12.2 megapixel camera. Now, fortunately, Google really doesn't need much camera-wise because they have great cameras, and one of the main reasons they have great cameras is because they have a good marriage of hardware and software. They have some really fantastic image processing software in their Pixel phones that just generates really great pictures. The Google Pixel phones have always been at the top of the market when it comes to images. I'm not worried at all about the camera for the Google Pixel 4a. I think it's going to take amazing pictures because it's Google and they know how to marry that hardware and software together. And actually, I think one of the secret weapons that this phone is going to have over a couple of the other budget phones that are being released is the night sight mode, and that's just the ability to take pictures at really low light or in darkness. If you're used to taking nighttime pictures, this particular feature is going to come in handy a lot, and I think it's probably going to be one of the best low light picture settings on a budget phone that's being released this year, and I think that's a big push for Google, and I think it's something that they're going to advertise and push like crazy when they advertise this particular phone, because it's not something that's really prevalent on the market when you're talking about budget devices. You're more going to see that in the high-end devices, but if they're able to use, that image processing software with that camera in the Pixel 4a to take really great nighttime pictures, that's going to set it apart from anything else that's currently on the market. So now, performance-wise, leaked benchmarks for the 4a is looking at about 6 gigs of RAM, and developers have actually found 2 separate codes for 2 separate processors in the 4a, and the 2 separate processors is one of the main reasons I think there's going to be 2 versions of this phone. I think you're going to get the regular 4a, and that one's going to have the Snapdragon 730 processor inside, but you're also going to get the 4a XL, and that one's going to have the Snapdragon 765 processor inside, and that's pretty significant because that Snapdragon 765 processor is also 5G capable. So I don't know if Google's going to go the route of including 5G in the XL version of this phone, because that's going to probably kick the price up over the budget price that they're tending to look at with the A versions of their Pixel phones. But if they're able to sneak that 5G capability into a budget device and still keep about that $479 price point, that actually works out pretty well, and it's another thing that it can attach onto that spec sheet that's going to be different than every other phone that's currently out in the market in that budget level area. So I really do think that Google's trying to differentiate their 4a versions of the phone this year. They're trying to really attack that mid-range to budget level market, and I think attaching a 5G capable one, where you don't have to pick the 5G capable one because we have one that's not 5G capable that's a little bit cheaper, but giving that option for the person that wants to spend just a little bit more without still breaking the bank is an amazing option, and I think it's a pretty good idea, and hopefully they carry through with it. Now, battery wise, you're probably still looking at a 3000 milliamp hour battery on the regular 3a, and the XL version is probably going to have a 3700 milliamp hour battery with 18 watt fast charging. There's probably not going to be any wireless charging because, again, you want to keep that price low, and that's fine. I've never really been a big fan of wireless charging anyway, but anything they can do to differentiate this phone from the other budget phones that are being released, especially one of the ones I think is going to be one of the top selling phones of this year, which is the iPhone SE, is definitely a good thing for Google. I think this is a market that they can kind of dominate on if they do it the right way, and the Google Pixel 4a seems to be shaping up to be an amazing phone with some really great features. That camera, hopefully it does set it apart from all the other phones. Let's see if it has some 5G capable abilities with the XL version, and let's see how that night mode kind of shapes up to see if it really does set it apart from anything else on the market. Anyway, I really like the way this phone is shaping up. I can't wait for Google to debut it. I can't wait for it to come out, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. All that really matters is what you guys currently think. Are you considering the Google Pixel 4a? Is this a phone that you're looking looking forward to buying? What can Google kind of include in this phone to get you to pull your wallet out and put that money on the table and purchase this device? What are you looking forward to the most? Go ahead and share all those thoughts and comments in the comment section down below the video. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell for notification so you don't miss when we release some cool, helpful content like this one. Also hit that like button because it definitely helps out the channel. Until next time, guys, you can check out this video here. It's another Google Pixel 4a video we did on why this phone is going to be so important for Google to kind of nail this year. And this is something that YouTube believes you'd enjoy watching. Guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. And as always, stay safe and peace out.